What's up, tribe? So if you're new here, my name's Jacob, and the topic I want to discuss today is one of the most important nutrients that we can consume in our diet, which just also happens to be one of the nutrients that most Americans are the most deficient in, and that is collagen. So in case you're unaware, starting at age 20, you begin to lose 1% of all the collagen in your entire body every single year. And for women, they actually lose about 30% more after they hit menopause. So this is not a good scenario. And the average American is very, very deficient in collagen because let's think about where collagen comes from. It comes from tendons, gristle, connective tissue, which are a lot of things that the average American simply does not consume. And considering the average American only consumes about 2.5 ounces of red meat a day, and then combine that with the fact that the meat that they do consume is not going to include cuts of meat that have a lot of collagen in there, because tendon and gristle and things like that are not appealing to the masses, and most people simply don't want to consume that type of stuff. So when you go out and buy meat at the grocery store, the meat is going to have very little collagen in there. And for the meat that does have collagen in it, a lot of people trim that out and they do not consume it. So based off that information, you can start to see a trend and understand how it would be very easy for people to become deficient in collagen. And collagen is a very essential protein. Now, a lot of people associate it with hair, skin, and nails. And while that is true, it plays a whole lot of other roles in the body. It is responsible for regenerating and growing muscle tissue, tendons, ligaments. Your stomach and most of your intestines are made up of collagen. So when your collagen is depleted, it could lead to things like leaky gut, which could then turn into autoimmune conditions. It can lead to the degeneration and the breakdown of your body in general. It can contribute to poor muscle development. And like I mentioned before, other parts of your body will suffer as well, like your hair, skin, and nails. So for those reasons, and many, many others, collagen is very, very important. And that's one of the reasons why I think the carnivore diet is so effective, is because when you start eating copious amounts of red meat, you're upping your collagen intake by default, even if you're not eating a ton of collagen-rich meats, just because you're consuming more meat, which does have collagen in there. But a lot of people that adopt a carnivore lifestyle also start to include things like bone broth. They eat a lot of ground beef, which is a very, very great source of collagen. They start buying odd cuts. They consume a lot of animal fat. They up their protein intake. And all these things combined leads to your body having more access to collagen and being able to utilize it properly, because now your body is being properly nourished. And I really can't emphasize enough how important collagen is for your gut health, because in our modern diets, there are a lot of foods that we consume. There's a lot of things we put in our body that degrade our gut, that degrade the collagen in our gut. And some of those things specifically are things like glyphosate. When we consume these highly inflammatory foods that have these highly inflammatory toxins in there, and even things like hyper-processed foods with excess sugars, that stuff is degrading your gut, and it is stripping the collagen from your body at a rate higher than 1%. And when that happens, you're left with things like gut dysbiosis. And like I mentioned before, leaky gut, which is a terrible condition and something I suffered from when I was sick. And why leaky gut or gut permeability is such a problem: it lets small particles of food and other things that shouldn't be entering your body into your body. It lets them enter your bloodstream. And when that happens, your body, justifiably so, starts to have autoimmune responses because of all the foreign particles that are now introduced to your body. So it essentially causes a form of inflammation and puts your body in overdrive, trying to have an immune response to all these foreign contaminants that are now in your body that are not supposed to be there. And when these tight junctions in your gut are opened up, it can be very hard to reseal them. But one of the fastest ways to do that, considering you aren't also riddled with parasites and candida and a bunch of other bad things, because a lot of times those things go hand in hand. But if your only problem is gut permeability, collagen is one of the fastest ways to restore your gut health and seal those junctions up. And once that happens, a lot of people will find that their autoimmune conditions go into remission or completely go away. And that was the case for me. Now, my gut was very, very wrecked when I started a carnivore diet, and it did take me over a year to completely heal my gut. But every single day I was taking collagen, I was drinking bone broth, I was eating collagen rich meat, I was consuming a lot of odd cuts, I was eating a lot of fat and a lot of red meat. But through doing that, over the course of about a year, I completely healed my gut, and all the autoimmune conditions that I had been dealing with that had been plaguing my life for over a year completely resolved. And it was just as simple as that. So when we think about the natural degradation of the collagen in our bodies, and then all the things on top of that that are probably causing that collagen depletion to advance much faster, it makes sense to get ahead of that now and load up on collagen as much as possible. And doing that can be very, very simple. And one of my favorite ways to do that is to collect all the bones from when I debone my dog's chicken for her meals. I collect all those, I put them in the freezer, and when I have about 2 pounds, I'll make bone broth. I do the same thing for all the bones off the meat I consume, and then I have about 1 gallon to 1.5 gallons of bone broth each and every time I do that. And I'll consume that every single morning as soon as I wake up, usually immediately after my workout. And that's worked out pretty well for me. Once I resolved all the gut issues that I had, and I started incorporating that into my diet and into my lifestyle, I have not had a problem in that area since. Now obviously they do also make collagen supplements that you can take. There's a couple grass-fed beef organic collagen supplements that I've tried over the years, and those worked out pretty well, but they can be kind of expensive. I think the ones I was buying was about $35. And when you think about making bone broth, it's essentially free because you've already bought the meat and you're just collecting the bones from that. So that's the route I always try to go. I only lean on and resort to supplements whenever it's absolutely necessary and I have no other option. But of all the things that we can do to prioritize our health and get ahead of health before health becomes a problem, I think collagen's up there near the top of the list. Keeping our collagen intake high, focusing on fatty red meats, odd cuts, ensuring that we eat plenty of tendon, bone broth, taking collagen supplements, all these things are going to help. And another good way to do that, if you buy odd cuts and you can't chew through the collagen, because most people can't, is to just do long cooks. You can buy a lot of the roast type cuts and put those in a long cook crock pot or the oven, and that's going to render that collagen down so that you can actually consume it and still get the benefits from that. So if you got some value out of this, comment the word collagen below. Let me know what your experience has been with collagen and if you plan to start including it. If you have a specific way that you like to consume collagen, let me know in the comments what that is. And I hope you liked this, hope you got some value out of this. If you did, feel free to like, subscribe, join the Apex tribe, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, peace out.